Hey everybody, I hope that wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you are having a really good weekend. Obviously I'm not in my usual out the front of the house kind of setup today, but what I am doing is getting some of the groceries that's fairly normal on a Saturday. And unlike, I should say, a large number of people, I try not to go to the supermarket because I really hate going to the supermarket. And that kind of brings me to what I want to talk to you about today, which is slow food. Forgive me, my glasses are still a little bit fogged up from wearing my mask out to the shop. So, obviously supermarkets carry lots of food, often quite cheaply priced, but they're not always great for the people who produce them. They're not always great for the people who work there. And so something I've done for a number of years is to shop locally, support local shops. Now, when I still used to live in the UK, I shopped on Gloucester Road in Bristol, which was kind of called the last independent high street in the UK. Now, I don't know if Gloucester Road still has all of the shops that I used to shop at, because it's 5 years down the road, and I'm not entirely sure if that's still the case. And my Saturday mornings with the family consisted of driving down Gloucester Road, going to the greengrocers and meeting everybody there, buying what was in season, then going to the butcher shop, the delicatessen, buying, you know, the cheese and the meats that the family wanted to eat, and then going home. And then we would snip to the local Sainsbury's or Tesco's and get the things that we couldn't buy anywhere else. Now today, we've kind of replicated that in the US. There is a local farm store to me where we go and get all of our local fruit and vegetables. We buy any meat, cheeses there, and then we drive to this farm where we're at now, which is just down the road, where we go and get our milk. Now, I grew up on a dairy farm. Now, a dairy farm in the UK that was kind of small. My dad was a dairy herdsman and he looked after the cattle, and so I grew up around cows, and I never realised that kind of in other parts of the world, dairy farming has become this massive industrial effort. And over here in the US, there are massive farms, massive dairy farms, where the cattle are milked almost on a rotation, large numbers of cattle. We're talking hundreds, maybe even thousands of head of cattle all being milked. And finding an independent farm, which is where we are right now, it's a local dairy that charges a lot more for the milk, but I buy the milk in glass bottles. We take the glass bottles back when we're done, and then we also get fresh milk. We get to support a local farmer. This particular farm lets you wander around and you get to see the calves, you get to see the cows, you get to see how they're being kept. And from a humane point of view, obviously, that feels a lot better to me than buying milk from an anonymous massive dairy where they're not paying the farmers a decent amount for the milk. They're not really looking after the animal welfare. And while I know that there are people who watch this who are vegan, and a lot of people have said that, you know, if I and everybody else really care about the planet, we should all be going vegan. And we try and eat vegetarian meals as much as possible, but we still do drink milk, and I'm okay with that for now. And I'm a lot better drinking milk that I know comes from a good source that has, like I say, humanely looked after animals. So today I had to turn the radio on by accident. I want to know if you guys follow the same route. Do you buy from humanely sourced local farms? Do you buy from local markets? This is a term that kind of can be described. These are all things that can be described by a blanket term of slow food. Food that is local, that has a low carbon footprint because it hasn't traveled far. We won't buy any animal products from big name brands that have, massive farms and massive facilities. Everything we buy that comes from an animal is local, like within 10 miles of us. And that helps us feel a little better about that. But the same is true for vegetables. We grow a lot of our vegetables during the summertime, and in the wintertime, again, we try and buy stuff that's in season. We'll try and buy it locally, not only because of the lower carbon emissions, but also to support the local economy. I don't mind paying more for a half gallon of milk if I know that that money is going to support the local community. And I know that I'm not the only person who is in that position. For me also, kind of guilty pleasure. I get to walk around the farm, I get to see the animals, and I get to feel it's a very relaxing experience for me because it reminds me of my youth and my dad, who was very, very, very big on making sure that all the animals were clean, they were well fed, they were looked after, there was no kind of concerns about their welfare. And so coming here to buy milk kind of allows me to reconnect with my childhood in that way. I know it's kind of a bit romantic, but it's again one of the reasons why we ended up with our own flock of chickens, because we wanted to be more in connection with our chickens and where the eggs that we were eating came from. We wanted to make sure that some farms in America say that they're free range and they're not technically free range. And then obviously you've got, you're washing the eggs in chlorine, which is the reason why store-bought eggs have to go in a refrigerator in the US. We don't have to worry about that. Our chickens put a layer of bloom protective coating on the egg when it's laid, and it just sits on our counter and we eat it when we want to. Anyway, let me know how you approach slow food in the comments below. Let me know if it's something that you support, or if you think it's just a waste of time, or if you think it's too expensive. And there are lots of people who say that slow food is too expensive for them. And one thing I would love to see more of is community gardens. So people actually having a community garden that is owned and supported locally, and allows people to learn how to grow or to grow their own food and to have a connection with their food. Because I think it actually changes your outlook on life. If you can watch your own food growing and being able to harvest it yourself, obviously I'm talking about vegetables, having your own chickens, seeing what those chickens eat, knowing that those eggs they lay are good quality and the chickens are looked after well and they have a good life, rather than buying it from some nameless corporation who, let's face it, 95% of the time, we only have to talk about Walmart in the US, where while Walmart, does say, yes, we support our workers and we help people go through university, the flip side of that is a lot of these big multinational superstores, their workers are on the poverty line. Sometimes they have multiple jobs. Sometimes they're on food stamps. And that's not a great way of keeping our society going. Anyway, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can support us using Ko-fi, even Patreon or Bitcoin. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully, with normal content. And I will see you very soon. Keep evolving.